Namaste and welcome to tonight's practice. This is the last practice of summer. We're at the last class of August and we're going to have class from Meditation Hill today. So we're going to start with a little bit of pranayama with Kapalabhati breath, a little bit of the fire of the sun to get our practice moving. So let's just start by 3 deep breaths. Breathing into the belly, just to connect with your breath. And you can use your ujjayi breath here. One more round of breath, smoothing inhales and smoothing exhales. And then we are going to go ahead and start with Kapalabhati. And you can keep your hands on your knees, or you can follow the arm movements with me by inhaling, reaching up to the sky, thumbs to touch, and exhaling, hands to parallel to the earth, to the floor, fingers curling in, thumbs turning up. Take another inhale and begin on your own speed. And on your next inhale, reach it up to the sky once again and retain the inhale for if it's comfortable for you. Letting that prana build after we've expelled all the old air. And then slowly exhale through the nose, let your hands come down. Let's just take a few rounds of your normal breath into the belly. And we're going to do another round. Hoping it's not too windy on the sound system here up here on Meditation Hill. It's just a bit breezy. Keep another round of breath here. And then let's do another round of Kapalabhati. Inhaling, reach up, thumbs touch, hands, fingers curl in. Exhale, arms parallel, or release your hands to your knees or thighs. Take another inhale and begin at your speed. And inhale, reach the thumbs to touch above your head. Retain the inhale if you're able and it's comfortable, not causing any stress in the body or the mind. Feel that prana building in the heart center. And then slowly exhale, arms come down, let the breath go. Take a couple more rounds of breath here. Breathing into the belly, and now we're really connecting with that ujjayi breath if you haven't before. So creating that restriction in the back of the throat, both on the inhale as well as the exhale, to slow the breath and control the breath. Pranayama is the control of your breath. And then let's rock forward onto hands and knees for cat-cow. So just using your inhale breath to open up the front of the spine, keeping some containment in the belly even as you do so. And then exhaling, opening up the back of the spine, pressing the earth away from you. And maybe your hands are slightly ahead of your shoulders. And moving through a few more rounds, keeping that slight engagement in the belly as you inhale and draw the heart forward. And exhale, curling it up. Do a couple more rounds. And then take one more round of cow, and as you exhale, come into child's pose. Take a couple rounds of breath into the back body in child's pose here. Feeling into any tightness you might be feeling in the hips, or even in the knees, the ankles, the front of your ankles. And then let's inhale back up into cow pose, and curl your toes under. We've done this for the last couple of classes. We're going to do it again. It's been feeling really good. As you exhale, hover your knees. And then bring weight into the left foot. Hover the right foot up off of the ground. And then we're going to press that right foot up and back into three-legged dog. Just getting a nice stretch in that left hamstring. And then we're going to bring it back down into downward facing dog. You can have your knees bent here. Maybe you want to stretch out a little bit. Turn to the side. And then come on down to cow pose again. If you want to give your wrists a break, you can come into child's pose and roll your wrists a little bit. And then let's do the same thing on the second side. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, draw the belly in slightly. Hover the knees. This time we're going to bring weight into the right foot. I have trouble bending my toes, so this is hard for me. So we're going to lift that left foot and then press up and back into three-legged dog. Now we're getting into that hamstring on the right, calves, back of that leg. And then bring it down, downward facing dog. And come on down to tabletop. So we're going to work a little bit with our core a little bit more. We're going to start with our left arm. Bringing that left arm straight out behind us. My palm is facing the sky. So I'm really reaching that back, kind of rolling that shoulder back. So I'm not curling it down, but keeping that arm parallel, palm parallel, and lifting up through this opposite shoulder, through my right shoulder. And now from here, I'm going to slowly rotate so that my thumb turns out up and my arm comes out to the side. So keeping that engagement in the core and that right shoulder. And then bringing that hand to reach directly in front of me, palm facing your center line. And then extending your right leg straight out behind you. Now take an inhale and get really long here. And as you exhale, draw them together. 3 breaths like this. Inhale long. Exhale, draw it in. So challenging our balance a little bit, as well as creating some length in our spine. And then release down at the end of that exhale. Let's go ahead and move directly into second side. So right hand comes out so that it's parallel. You can't see my arm, but it's just parallel, and I'm staying lifted in this left shoulder. So reaching it back, engagement in the core. And now the next inhale, rotate the arm so the thumb turns up and your palm is facing forward. If you can see my arm there. And then again, next inhale, bring it straight out in front of you, palm facing center. And then extend left hand. Extend left leg straight out behind you. Take another inhale. And as you exhale, knee and elbow draw in, curl up like cat pose. Inhale, get long, keep the containment in the belly, and exhale. One more round of breath, inhale. And completely exhale everything out, and release hand and knee down. Let's curl those toes under. Find yourself into downward facing dog. Taking a couple breaths here. And then let's come forward to plank pose. And in our plank pose, let's turn both toes to the right. You can either have one foot ahead and one foot behind, or you can stack your feet, whatever feels better for you. So we're in a little bit of a twist here. And then come back to center, downward facing dog. Inhale forward to plank. And same thing, second side. Either left foot in front of the right or stacking, but keeping both hands down. Come back to center, downward facing dog. Next time we come forward to plank, you're going to lower all the way down to the belly. So you might drop your knees or you might pause through chaturanga on your way down. Then we're going to move into, just checking to see if I'm still in the picture, in the frame. Bring your arms out to the side onto your fingertips, elbows pointing up. And inhale, come up into your cobra. Boy, that sun's just perfect right now. Take one more breath here. Maybe you lift a little higher as you inhale. And exhale. Release it down. Press up and back, child's pose. Breathe into your back body. And then inhale, rise up. Table, curl the toes under. Down dog. Take an inhale here, and let's just nice and slow walk your feet up to come between your hands. Your feet can be hip width here. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to your shins or fingertips to blocks or your mat. And exhale, draw the belly in as you fold. And inhale, bend the knees and rise all the way up. Draw into your heart center. And let's just take a moment here to set an intention for your practice. And I like to use the question, how do I want to feel today, to set my intention. So whatever that is to you, let that be your intention as we move through class today. Feel into your feet. And we're going to work a little bit with that spiral that we were talking about last week, of that fascia, that our spiral that we have in our own body, just like the spiral that we see in vines that climb in our summer gardens. We have that spiral in our bodies, starting in our inside arch, coming across the front of the leg and crossing over and ending at the back of the skull. So let's find that beginning of that fascia, that beginning of that diagonal up through our inner arches as we lift our arches and feel it wrap around and crossing over on our back as we inhale, reach up to the sky, maybe invite a back bend. And exhale to bow down. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, let's step our right foot back. So coming into a lunge position with right foot at the back, pressing that front thigh down towards the earth and the back thigh up towards the sky. I'll turn a little bit here. Take an inhale here, and as we exhale, let's move into reverse lunge. Inhale forward. Excuse me. And as we exhale, let's rotate to the long side of your mat for side lunges. So taking an inhale and center, make the spine long. And as you exhale, bend the right knee. Walk your hands over. Inhaling back to center and exhaling to the other side. Let's inhale back to center, rotate back to the top of your mat. And then as you inhale, remember that front thigh's pressing down. As you inhale, reach the left hand straight out in front of you and get nice and long. And as we exhale, we're going to twist to the left. So Slowly twisting the belly to the left as we reach left hand up, and see if you can lift that right thigh, that opposite thigh, up. Maybe you can even look up to the sky. Boy, the sky is beautiful, blue, and perfect right now. Stay lifted in that right shoulder. Take one more breath. And as we exhale, let's bring that hand down and step it back into downward facing dog. Coming forward to plank. And use your exhale to lower. Let's come all the way down to our bellies again. So you might pause in chaturanga. I almost went into up dog. Or you might just come all the way down to your belly by dropping your knees as well. Let's rise up into our cobra. Pressing down through the feet, lengthening through the legs. And then exhale, come down. Curl the toes under. Let's press up and back. Downward facing dog. Let's inhale the right foot up to the sky in three-legged dog. And as we exhale, let's step that foot up between our hands, coming into our lunges on our second side. So remember the right thigh, the front thigh presses down, and the back thigh is pressing up. So they're moving in opposite directions. Take an inhale here as you lengthen your heart forward, and exhale into reverse lunge. You can have blocks here. You can walk your hands back. You can keep your spine lifted, or you can fold over that front leg. But we're trying to lift those right toes up. Next inhale, ride the breath. Come back to our starting position. And we're going to rotate to the long side of our mat. And I'm going to switch sides so you're not looking at my butt. So rotate to the long side of your mat. And we're moving into our side lunges again. So inhaling, lengthen your spine and center, just like we do in our halfway lift. And as you exhale, bend the left knee. Inhale to center, and exhale into the right. Inhale into center. I switched sides now, I'm getting confused. Exhale left, let's do one more round. Inhale to center. And then we're going to rotate back to the top of your mat. So your right leg is in front of you. So let's do the same twist that we did on the other side. Inhale, left arm, inhale, right arm straight in front of you. Get nice and long. And as you exhale, twisting to your right. So this right hip is lifting. The left hip is lifting. The right leg is pressing down as we twist and belly twist to the right. And maybe you look up. So feeling into those spirals of the body, find the inner right arch. Follow with your mind's eye that spiral around the outside, up the front of your leg and around the outside of your thigh, crossing over your sacrum, diagonally across your back. One more inhale. And then the exhale, bring the hand back, step back into downward facing dog. Take one more inhale here. You can bend your knees and you can step, walk, or float to the top of your mat. Inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to bow. And inhale, we come all the way up, finding your way into mountain pose. Taking a couple breaths in your mountain pose here. Just resetting, finding your center, samastitihi. I don't know if you can hear the crickets and the grasshoppers. It's just a beautiful night up here on Meditation Hill. I wish you were all here with me. Let's take another flow here. So let's inhale, reach to the sky. And as we exhale, we're bowing forward. Inhale, the heart floats up. And as we exhale, we're stepping the left foot to the back of your mat. Take another inhale, lengthen your heart forward, and as we exhale, drop that left knee. Inhale, reach to the sky, and lengthen up. And you might invite a back bend here if you feel your body is ready for that. And then your next exhale, we're going to bring that right hand down to your front knee, and we're going to side bend over to the right. So getting a nice opening in that left side body, left hip flexor, and keep lifting up through the elbow. So we're lifting up and over. And now you can stay right here with right hand on that front leg, or drop that right hand and reach it back to the back thigh, so the opposite leg. And we're going to begin to twist to our right. So we've got a little bit of a side bend and a little bit of a twist here. Take one more breath. And then we're going to reach both arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands through heart center, twist to your right, catch that elbow, or forearm to the knee, hand to the hip as we twist right. Take one more breath here in your twist. And use your exhale to unwind, and hands come down, lifting that back knee, stepping back, downward facing dog. Let's come forward to plank. And use your exhale to lower however you wish to lower this time. And your inhale brings you into up dog or cobra. And the exhale takes you back, downward facing dog. Let's inhale the left leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it up between your hands. So we're in our lunge on our second side. Once again, take an inhale, lengthen your heart forward. Exhale, drop that back knee. And inhale, reach to the sky. We're going to do that same sequence on our second side. So the first couple breaths, just reaching up, inviting a back bend. And then we can release left hand to that front knee, the left knee, side bend over to the left. Really creating space and length in that whole left side body here. And again, you can stay right here if this is feeling really good, stay here. Or release that left hand to your back hamstring and invite not only the side bend, but also a little twist to your left. And keep lifting through that left side. So we're twisting left. Find that inner arch of that left foot and follow that spiral line up the leg, across the back. And then let's come out of it, reach both arms up. And exhale, hands through heart center, twisting to our left. Again, you can have hands at heart center, have elbow on the front knee. In any case, the belly is twisting to the left. We're looking towards the left. Whichever variation is more appropriate for you. Feels like a good wringing out of our internal organs here. And then releasing both hands down. We're going to lift that back knee. I got a bad knee. Oh. And step back into downward facing dog. Take an inhale in your down dog, and as you exhale, step, walk, or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise up. And draw into your heart center. Take a couple breaths in your mountain pose. I think I'm going to reposition here a little bit. Inhale, reach up. And exhale to bow. Inhale, lengthen, and as we exhale, let's step right foot to the back of your mat and pivot that back foot down for warrior two. Windmill your way up, find your warrior two position here. So soften the shoulders down. We always like to do a little softening of the shoulders Think about pressing this front thigh down a little bit more, shoulders over hips. And then drawing this hip back a little bit. Sometimes we tend to press that forward. I want to draw that back in a little bit and keeping that front knee over your ankle. Just checking in with all of those positioning of the body. On our next inhale, let's find peaceful warrior. So flip that palm. Maybe looking to the sky. Keep lengthening in that side body and sending that front knee towards the front of your mat, the front wall, if you have a wall. And exhale, we're moving into side angle. So you might have your forearm on your knee as you lengthen through that right side. You might have that left arm on a block, or your fingertips might come down to your mat. Take one more breath here. I'm in a slippery spot, but as you next inhale, press into both legs and come all the way up. There we go. We're moving into triangle pose next. So you might shorten your stance just a half a step. Inhale, lengthen that left side body, get really, really long, and let that left hand float down as you come into triangle. So we always have this option to stay in your classic triangle and maybe look up to the sky, or you can also reach that right arm overhead and really lengthen through that right side body. Stay connected with your ujjayi breath here. Micro bend in that front knee so you're not hyperextending. And then let's inhale, come all the way up. Let's turn feet to the long side of your mat. Hands to your hips. Inhale, lengthen the heart up. Exhale, fold forward. Let your hands slide down the legs and grasp onto your ankles, your shins, or peace fingers around the big toe. Let the top of the head spill. Shoulders away from your ears. If you've got your toes, you can press your toes into your fingers as you pull your toes up to the sky with your fingers. So they're moving in opposite directions, opposing one another. And a micro bend in your knees here. Take one more breath. And then use your next inhale breath to lift halfway. And exhale, bow down. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, lift halfway. This time we stay here. Release your hands to the floor right under your face or on a block. We're moving into a twist here. So plant left hand first. And then exhale. Reach up to the sky. The belly twist to your right. You can have your right hand on your right hip as you rotate. And it's almost like we're trying to stack right shoulder over left. That might not happen in your body, but that's kind of the energetic line that we're trying to create here with our twist. Bring your awareness to the center of both arches. See if you can follow that spiral line up both legs and cross over your back in this twist that you were in as we naturally spiral. Take one more breath. And use your exhale to release down. Take an inhale and lengthen. Exhale, bow down. And then inhale, lengthen again. Plant your right hand, stay long through the spine here. Left hand comes to your left hip as we begin to twist. And you can decide if you want to twist, reach that left arm up. You might find that one side might be easier for you to twist than the other. For me, that first side was definitely easier than this side. So twisting from the belly. See if you can find those spiral lines again, starting at your arch, lifting up through the arches, the inner arches. spiraling all the way up as your body is spiraling. See if you can find that inner spiral. One more breath. And then exhale, slowly bring it down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward completely. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Pause here. Exhale. And then inhale, come up all the rest of the way. Beautiful. Let's just take a moment's pause here and just notice what's going on in the body. And then let's turn left toes to the top of your mat. I don't have a mat, so I keep forgetting where the top of my mat is, and I keep changing sides. So hands are going to come down to the mat, the earth, step back, downward facing dog. You can stay in down dog or come into child's pose, or you can take a flow and choose however you wish to lower down through your plank and choose whatever back bend you wish to take. I'm going to take that first. Did with arm to the side. That felt really good to me today. So I'm going to do round 2. It just really feels free in the heart without compressing my back. Keep lengthening your legs no matter which back bend you're doing. And if you're an up dog, see if you can stay for a breath or 2. One more breath. And if you're an up dog, exhale to down dog. If you're in cobra, exhale down. Take an inhale and everybody back in downward facing dog. So we're going to inhale left leg to the sky in three-legged dog, and as we exhale, step it up between your hands. Nope. That's right foot is stepping forward, pivoting the back foot down and windmilling up. I see I'm losing my light. Take a moment in your warrior 2 to soften your shoulders down. Pressing that front thigh down, drawing this front or back thigh back a little bit. And let's move into peaceful warrior, flipping that front palm. Find your peaceful warrior. Inhaling, creating that length, opening up that whole right side body. And then using the exhale to move into your variation of side angle. So it might be elbow to the knee. Wow, my light is really sinking quick. And it's getting cold out here. Rotate up to the sky with not only your left ribs, possibly your gaze. Nice breath here. And then your next inhale, press into both feet. Come all the way up. I like to shorten my stance just a little bit for triangle. It's a little easier on my sacrum. So you might want to do the same. And then we're going to inhale, reach that right arm long. And exhale, release that hand down. Left hand up to the sky. You might look up to the sky. Whoa! I'm on the side of a hill here. Or you might reach that top arm overhead and lengthen that left side body just a little bit more. Take one more breath here. And then let's inhale, come all the way up. Turn your feet to the long side of your mat once again. And this time you can intertwine your fingers behind your back. If that's not available, you can grab opposite elbows or keep hands on your hips. Open the heart center, lift the heart as you lengthen your spine up, and exhale, fold. Release your head so the top of the head can spill towards the earth. Micro bend in your knees. One more breath here. And then slowly inhale, pressing into both feet, coming all the way up. Take a moment's pause. I need to grab a jacket because it just got real cold here. Just taking a couple breaths there. And then turn to the top of your mat. And step back, downward facing dog. Again, you might take child's pose. You might stay in down dog. Or we might flow, coming forward to plank. Exhaling to lower. Inhaling to find your back bend. And exhaling back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Lengthen up. And then we're going to come down to our forearms in dolphin. So we're going to intertwine. It's getting a little dark in my picture here. So intertwine your hands. Elbows down. So we're in dolphin. And then we're going to walk it back into dolphin plank. And that plank, that side plank with our feet that we did in the beginning, we're going to do that with our dolphin plank. So rotating the feet to the side, but keeping both elbows down. And then coming back to center. Walk it up to dolphin, or you can take child's pose. And then we're going to walk it out and do your second side. So coming into your dolphin and then rotating the feet, pointing over to the right. You really feel this in the side body. Take one more breath and come back. Walk it up into dolphin or take child's pose. Press the earth away from you. Come up high on your toes. Maybe you want to walk it in and lift one leg. Just get a nice stretch. And do the other side. And then let's all walk it out and come into child's pose. I just realized I may have covered up my microphone. Sorry guys, whoops. Sorry if the sound disappeared there. Hopefully that fixes it. And then inhale to come up, curl your toes under. Find your way back into downward facing dog. Take an inhale here. Use your exhale to walk to the top of your mat or step or float. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. And inhale to rise up. I'm really sorry. I have to fix this microphone because I don't think that is working. I'm just going to stick it on here. I was not expecting it to be this cold this quickly. Okay, so let's move into tree pose. You guys all know I'm really bad at balance with my bad ankles, but we're going to move into tree pose starting on the left foot first. So bending that right knee, externally rotating, and you can just have your foot on your ankle. Lift up through that left hip. You might slide it up to your shin and you might stay there, or you might come back to the ankle, or you might come all the way up to the inner thigh. Not so sure that's happening for me today. We'll see. And just take a moment to find your tree pose. And if you want today, you can keep both hands pressing at heart center, because in just a moment we're going to move from our tree into warrior three. So sending that right leg out behind you into your warrior three, and then bring your arms wide. And from wide arms, I think I'm making up a new pose here. From wide arms, you're going to bring your hands to your blocks, which I forgot to tell you to have, or the floor, and move into standing splits. So pressing into that left foot, walking the hands back, really lifting through that right. You might turn it into a bit of balance by grabbing the calf. One more breath. And then exhale, release that foot down. Take a little stretch out in downward facing dog. And then come up to the top of your mat. Inhale halfway. Exhale, bow. And inhale, rise up once again. So let's move to our right side with that same sequence. And I know you guys can do better than me on this side because I don't have my ankle brace on and I have a really hard time balancing, especially on this right side. So we're going to start with our tree pose. So bending the left leg, lifting up through that right hip, maybe staying here, maybe taking calf, maybe staying here, or maybe taking thigh and hands to heart center. So just taking a couple breaths in our tree pose. And then we're going to release that foot from tree and press it straight out behind us into our warrior three. And then you can release, hands out to the side. I don't know why, warrior three has always been my hardest pose ever. Hold your warrior three, another breath if you can. And then release hands to your blocks or to the floor. And we bow down over that standing leg into standing splits. You can grasp that calf if you wish to balance. Keep reaching that left foot up as you press down into the right. One more breath. See if you can feel that spiral from that right arch. Wrapping around. And then release the back foot down, nice and soft. Step it back into downward facing dog. You can take a flow here. You can stay in down dog, or you can come into child's pose for a couple of breaths. We still have a couple standing poses that we want to work through with some twists. And then we'll all meet in downward facing dog wherever you're at. And then take an inhale at the bottom of your exhale, step, walk, or float to the top of your mat. Inhale halfway. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise. Now if you have blocks, and I don't have any here with me on Meditation Hill, have them at the top of your mat because we're going to move into a revolved triangle pose. So starting at the top of your mat, hands to your hips, take an inhale. Exhale, sit down in chair pose. Take another inhale, and exhale, step right foot back. So that back foot is just a 45-degree angle, and we're going to straighten that front leg for our pyramid. And so let's actually start. I'm under this beautiful sky that's moving from beautiful sun into twilight. So let's do stargazer. So handle on your hips, elbows point out behind you, lifting the heart, pressing strongly into both feet. Lift that heart up to the sky, up to the stars. So we're inviting a little back bend here. And then let's inhale that right arm up to the sky. And as we exhale, we begin to fold forward. Now we're going to scissor the hips a little bit. So the left one is going back, the right one is moving forward as we fold forward. And we're keeping a nice long spine. And the body is just parallel to the earth or to your mat. So if I was over to the side, it's going to look like this. Take one more breath. And then as you exhale, release the right hand either to the inside of that arch or to the outside. And you can have your hand on a block here. We're going to pretend I have a block. And then left hand to your left hip. We begin to twist to the left. And keep drawing the hips towards your center line. You might decide if you want to reach that left hand up to the sky and revolve triangle. Keep twisting the belly up to the sky and pressing strongly into both feet. See if you can find those spiral lines within your body as we spiral our outer body. Take one more breath. You might look up to the sky. And then as we exhale, let's unwind it. Both hands come down for a moment. Take your right hand with your right block if you have them. Reach a little bit ahead. We're going to go into revolved half moon. So shifting forward, float that back leg up and twist to your left. So same thing, only the back leg is up off the floor. One more breath. And then hand releases, foot releases. Let's step back into downward facing dog. Some of you might want to flush that out by taking a flow. Some of you might want child's pose before we do our second side. And some of you might want to just stay in down dog. Maybe stretch it out. A three-legged dog feels good for me after that. I always find those revolved triangle and revolved half moon hard on my outer hips. So stretch it out however feels best for you. And then the bottom of your exhale, let's come to the top of your mat. Inhale halfway, exhale bow, and inhale to rise up, drawing into your heart center. Take a couple breaths before we move into second side. Taking a moment to check in with the body, check in with the breath. And then hands to your hips. Take an inhale. As we exhale, sit down chair pose. Let's pause here for a breath or two. And then step back with the left foot. I seem to be going down the hill here. So straightening that front leg. So we're starting with our pyramid, or not pyramid, we're going to start with stargazer, sorry. Pretend you can see the stars in the sky behind me. So pressing into both feet, we inhale, lifting the heart, elbows out behind you. So inviting a back bend as we lift the heart, gaze up to that beautiful sky. If you're outside, if not, imagine a beautiful sky. And then we're going to reach left hand up to the sky. And as we exhale, we're hinging at the hip and lengthening, reaching with that left hand, bringing the torso parallel to the floor. Micro bend, micro bend in that front knee. Keep reaching, scissoring the front hip back and the back hip forward. And then release that hand down, either inside your arch or outside the foot to your block or to the mat. And then we begin to twist from the belly to the right. Right hand can stay on the hip or reach up to the sky. Keep drawing the hips to center. And that same action of almost trying to stack our shoulders. Keep twisting through the belly. One more breath. See if you can find that spiral line that starts at the inner arch on both feet. And then you can release the back arm, the top arm down. Left hand is going to come forward, either on your block or on the fingertips. We're going to shift into revolved half moon. So the left toes are pointing down to the earth. And then, right hand might be on your right hip or might reach up to the sky. Keep lifting that left leg higher as you twist. I hope you're finding this as hard as me. One more breath. And release, hand down, step it back. Downward facing dog. This is your last chance for a flow if you decide you want one. And your last chance for child's pose if you decide you want one. I'm going to take that wide cobra that for some reason is just feeling so good to me today. And let's all meet in child's pose for a couple of breaths. Breathing into the back body. And then we're going to come up to a seat. I'm going to come further forward. There's the light. And we're going to move into a twist. So, you can either have that right leg straight or curled under, and left leg is going to come over. So you can wrap it around that left leg. We're twisting to the left. Left hand behind you, inhaling a nice tall straight spine. And exhaling, we twist left, look left, belly twist left. Allowing everything, our spiral, to begin to soften and unwind a little bit here in our twists. We'll stay for one more breath. And let your exhale unwind you back to center. Take an inhale in center. Exhale, a little counter twist just to unwind before we switch sides. Coming back to center. Both legs come out in front. And then if you are taking the full leg, left leg can curl under or left leg stays straight out in front of you. Right leg crosses. You can wrap your left arm around. Right hand is behind you. Belly's twisting to the right. I like to gather. I've got a bulky jacket and I don't know what I have in my pocket, but I've got some bulky things in my pockets. So we're twisting to the right. Inhaling a tall straight spine. Exhaling, allowing the body to twist a little bit more. Can you hear the crickets? Taking one more breath here. And then the exhale, we come back to center. Take a nice inhale here. And a little counter twist to the other side. Coming back to center. And we unwind the legs. Bring them out in front. Let's come into Baddha Konasana before we lie down. You can hold onto your feet. You can support your hands behind you. And some of you might even fold forward. Nice breath here into the back body, wherever you're at. If you're attempting to fold forward especially. Taking one more breath wherever you are. And then bringing the knees up, we're going to lie down on your back for bridge pose. After all those twists, it's really nice for the endocrine and lymphatic system to have this little inversion. So find your way into your variation of bridge. It might have arms or hands. Whoops. Sorry. lost my microphone. You might have your hands intertwined under your bum. You might have elbows bent with elbows pushing into the earth and fingertips pointing to the sky. Some of you might even have your hands under your hips, supporting the hips, moving them up to sky. But whichever variation you're taking, see if we can stay for 2 more breaths. I think I'm going to stay seated, or I'm going to lose my microphone again. And when you're in bridge, you can't see what I'm doing anyway, correct? So taking 1 more breath here. And then slowly lowering the hips down to the earth. And then just staying there for a couple of breaths with your back of your pelvis down on your mat. And then bring your feet wide on your mat, but knees are still bent. And we're just going to do some windshield washer with the knees, arms out to the side, wide. And use your exhale to drop the knees over to the right. And if you've got your feet wide on your mat, you might feel a little more opening in that left side body and left hip flexor. Inhale them back to center and exhale over to the other side. And now we bring a little more awareness and breath and space into that right side. Let's do 1 more time to each side. Inhaling to center. Exhaling to the right. Inhaling to center, and last time over to the left. And inhaling to center. We didn't do pigeon pose today, so I think we're going to do thread the needle before Shavasana. So right leg over your left knee, just below, or just the top of the thigh, or bottom of the thigh, I should say. And draw that left knee in towards your chest. Pressing the right knee away from you as you draw left knee in. Nice breath into the tight spots to make space. One more breath. And slowly release that left foot down, uncross. And let's switch it up. Drawing the right knee in, flexing that left foot that's on that right knee. Pressing left knee away as you draw right knee in. Getting into that outer left hip. Use your breath to make space. One more breath. And then exhale. Release both feet down. Take a couple breaths here just with knees bent, just noticing your breath, your sensations. And I said I was going to move you into Shavasana, but I've changed my mind. Come up to a seat, roll to your side, gently come up to a seat. We're going to do a little bit of pranayama before you go into Shavasana. And then I'm going to ask you to maybe have your phone or something handy, and you can set yourself a timer for 7 minutes for our Shavasana. And I'm going to let you do Shavasana on your own. So we're going to do pranayama first, and then move into Shavasana, and perhaps you do a little meditation when your Shavasana is over for today's practice. So we're going to do alternate nostril breath, which just really calms the mind and settles the mind before you move into your Shavasana. So curling index and middle finger under. Whoops, there we go. And then using ring finger and thumb just at the part of the nose where the cartilage ends, rather than on the tip of your nose, right where the cartilage ends. So we're just switching back and forth. So we'll start by blocking the left nostril. So just sliding that left, or that ring finger over the edge of the cartilage as we inhale through the right. And then just a gentle pause at the top of your breath, and then switch to exhale out the left. Stay here as you inhale through the left. Gentle pause at the top of that inhale breath. And then switch to exhale. Stay here as you inhale. Pause at the top of the breath. And release the left to exhale left. Stay here as you inhale through left. Pause at the top of the inhale. And exhale right. Let's do one more round. Inhale right. Pause at the top of your breath. And switch to exhale left. Stay here as you inhale left. Pausing at the top of the breath. And then release the right nostril to exhale. And release both hands. Let's take a full round of inhale, exhale here. Exhale through the nose. And now you can go ahead and make your way down onto your back. Find a blanket, maybe a bolster, and maybe a timer. And I'm going to suggest no less than 5 minutes and no more, or you could do more than 7, but somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes. Set that timer so that you can completely relax. And I am going to say namaste. I hope you have a wonderful day or evening or morning. And I will see you next week. Namaste.